Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 415 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Eilon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our fourth book was released. It's called Using AI to Grow Your Fraternity or Sorority. Go and pick up that book today on Amazon. And for all of our regular listeners, we have a new book that's going to be dropping on Christmas Day. So be on the lookout for that as well. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there's nothing like great food to bring college students together. So, fun fact, I am definitely not the most organized person in the world, but I absolutely notice that my confidence goes up significantly when I give a presentation that I've rehearsed a bunch of times already, and I have a strong slide deck that helps to keep me on track. That way, I know I have a good intro, I have some good intermediary steps, and a strong conclusion that is in line with the stated learning objectives that I've sent to my client before they booked me. So be sure that anytime you're giving a presentation, be sure your slide deck has photos with very little text to help keep you on the right track. That way you are not going to get lost in the weeds. And that is super important for you to deliver what you said you were going to deliver. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this, about the impact that clutter can take on your health and productivity. And so today we have with us Lisa Geraci Rigoni. I probably totally
Wow.
butchered that. All right, here we go. Lisa is the founder of the Organizing Mentors, and she will tell you how she came into the professional organizing business, honestly. Through helping hundreds of people, she's discovered the mental blocks that hold us back from clutter-free living. She's helped clients from all across the DC metro area and beyond to discover why do they hold on to all their stuff, break these unhealthy connections, and get her clients the peace of mind they deserve. And I tell you what, she and her team can help you as well, to all of our listeners. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Thank you so much. Very, very happy to. And you're right on with the Sicilian name. Very good. Very good.
I try my best, those Italian roots are coming in handy. So
There
that's
you go. They do. They do. Excellent. Yeah. My
so
dad used to always say you're Sicilian and you married an Italian. I don't know if I said that when we first met, but it's true. Like very different. Or
very
different.
different. Sicilian is very, very different than Italian. I'm
Uh,
happy that you know the difference for sure. Now, let's talk a little bit about your business because I am just like
okay.
totally fascinated. I mean, for me, I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. So anytime I get to talk to another
Mhm.
entrepreneur about their business, I'm just like all in. So you're the founder, it's called of the Organizing Mentors, and you've
Yep.
had this business for over 15 years. So tell our
Yep.
audience, what exactly is this business of yours?
What exactly is it? That's a 30-minute show right there, I think. I started doing it myself. The name of my company used to be Leave It to Lisa because it was just me and I was good at organizing. I have ADD. It just seemed when I found out that I had ADD, I realized that I would organize to calm myself in stressful situations. And it just comes naturally to me. It's just something that I do. It's very cathartic. And that's kind of what I've realized probably the last 10 years, 10 years, half of my career in this business is people, and you mentioned it, clutter impacts us in such a deep level we don't even know. And my house is not perfect. People always say, oh, I'm afraid to come to your house because it's organized. And I'm like, no, I mean, everybody, I suffer from it sometimes. And what I've learned and what my book is about and how we mentor our clients is what's important to you. And what, like if you're talking fraternity, sorority kids with stuff everywhere, and then they have to deal with getting up on time and eating properly and homework and tests, that's a lot. So if your room is cluttered, if your brain will be cluttered, my tagline is reclaim your space mentally and physically, because once you figure out like, oh, this clutter is, I can't even concentrate in here. And you have to take all your stuff and go to the library or go to a quiet space, that's clutter free. It's huge. So, for your audience, I think what I could illustrate for the most, which is all of our clients, is how clutter plays a role on you. And it's the mental clutter, especially for your age group, I think, is, oh, I didn't get a good grade on that test, or that girl doesn't like me, or, all the mental gobbledygook that's clutter in our brain that stops us from being productive and organized and just letting us get enough sleep, in general, So yeah, I don't know if I answer your question. We really start with any client, and your audiences too, is look around and look at what doesn't serve you. What doesn't serve you? So all that mental blah, blah, blah. Okay, is worrying about that helping it? No, just do it or let it go. And then, just get up and do your laundry, kids. I have a 20-year-old. She's back for junior, third year. We just dumped all of her stuff, and now she's living in it, and it's like, oh yeah, I got to get this done before I can do anything else. And it really has an impact in anybody, anybody's lives.
So you have a 20-year-old daughter, so I think you totally get this because you see it firsthand. I mean, if I go to the sorority houses, for the most part, the common spaces are very clean. You could eat off of the floor, but like the rooms are like a totally different story. In the fraternity houses, they're a complete wreck. I mean, completely disorganized.
Yeah.
I mean, like your feet are sticking to the floor. I
yeah,
mean,
like I've gone to fraternity parties, and it's
really bad,
yeah.
right? So
My daughter has certain shoes she wears to those parties.
Right. So, I mean, you take it a step further because it's more than just like cleaning up the space. I mean, you actually believe that the clutter plays a role in terms of your confidence, in terms of your productivity, in terms of your relationships. Can you talk to us more about that? Because that's like a whole new level than just cleaning a space.
Which one do you want me to start with?
I mean, talk about like productivity and relationships.
Yeah, productivity. So productivity is huge, especially let's, focus on your audience. If you're, like you said something like getting everything in order before you move on to the next, getting those final exams. Kids are in final exams right now, If you're not organized for that, how are you going to get a good grade? Or how are you going to, everybody has, so I'm going to backtrack a second. Everybody is organized. It may be organized chaos, but most kids know where their stuff is. Now, it might be buried under something, but I knew I threw it over there. Like, are they going to find it? No, probably not in 5 minutes if they have to run out, but if they know where it is, okay? So for relationship with yourself, for productivity for yourself, confidence for yourself, guess what? If your room is organized, you know where it is, you're cutting out time, and you're more confident, okay, I can get to class on time, because they're always running late, right? And then you throw in the physical clutter, or what they're thinking about, or they're worried about the test, or they can't find this, their confidence is going to sink. They're going to go to the test, they're going to be late, or even class. Their relationship with their self suffers a lot, and I think that in your audience, that's the biggest thing, because these kids are under a tremendous amount of stress. We think we are as adults. Yes, it's different because they're still going through all their brain changes and hormones and stuff, and have to be focused, and they want everybody to like them, and they want to fit, it's just so much. I do not envy that, that age group. But the relationship with the self is huge. And for confidence, if you don't have to be clutter-free, like I said, but if you can come into your room, you forgot something, and you know where it is, your relationship, it builds confidence in yourself, Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, because my ADD takes me all in circles.
No,
but.
you're good. I mean, you kind of mentioned it in the last question, because you were talking about the fact that everybody is organized. It might be organized chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is organized. So for all the different student listeners that are out there, all the thousands of them, how do they
Mm-hmm.
figure out what is their organizational style?
Yep. That's a good question. It's a lot of questions. Like if we're figuring out what our client's style is, we're with them. We can see their space, you know. For someone who's listening, here's some questions. Do you like to see everything? Right? Because
Mhm.
I have piles. If you saw my office right now, because I have the Jack Canfield stuff I was doing, I have the publicity summit. So I have my clients' files, and I like to know, okay, this is what I need to work on now. I'm pointing down, right?
Mhm.
This is where my client stuff is right here. So I like to see what I'm working on. Because I will forget if I don't see it.
Uh, okay.
But as soon as I'm done, I can put it away, because if it's still there, like if I just leave all these papers on my desk and I just put more on top, oh my mind is, I can't do anything. I can't sit down and talk to Michael until this is clear. Right. So other people like their bins and their labels and their things, which I do also when I'm done with something and I have to keep it. So
Mhm.
people have that kind of style, and it's not OCD. It's just, they like to know it's right there. And there's other people that just throw until they're ready to use it, or, the clean clothes are there, the dirty clothes are there. Like that's their system. It's chaos for
Mhm.
people walking in. Like you go to the fraternity room, or, some of the sorority rooms, you're like, how do you guys find anything?
Right.
Especially if three girls in one room.
Mhm.
So you ask yourself, okay, ask yourself those questions. What do you like? Do you like stacks? Do you like piles? Because that's okay, as long as you know there's a turnover, right? And you're moving it and it's productive. Or
Mhm.
do you just throw, which is
Mhm.
fine, but have a system? Everything comes back to a system, you know, and what works for you. Because again, if it doesn't serve you, why are you holding on to it?
Yeah.
If it doesn't serve you.
Now you have ADD, and what's interesting
Mm-hmm.
about that, and many of our listeners do as well, you actually consider it a superpower for yourself, right? So you view it as
Exactly.
this is a positive for me. So
Yep.
for all of our listeners out there that also have ADD, how can they
Mm-hmm.
make the ADD work for them?
Well, I think that's a personal question, right? But here's my advice. I realized, when I was diagnosed, again, I was diagnosed when I was 40. So I went back in my life and went, first of all, the name of the book that my psychiatrist gave me, because I thought I was going crazy. I
Mhm.
mean, it was like I couldn't focus. It was right after we did some IVF treatment, and I think it just messed everything up, good and bad, right? It's like, okay, now I found this. The book he gave me, and I think I wrote this in the book. It was called "You Mean I'm Not Stupid, Lazy, or Crazy?" And I just started bawling, because for probably my whole teenage years, up until probably that moment, those were the three words I used to describe myself. Oh, I'm
Mhm.
lazy, I can't get it done, or I'm so stupid. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember this? Or I'm crazy. Like, why is this so easy for other people? And there was nothing wrong with me. There's nothing, it was just the way God created me, or whoever you believe created it. Like that was just me. But I wasn't given the tools to self-reflect. I wasn't given the tools by my parents, because they had three kids, Polish, Italian household, just stuff happening all the time. They didn't know it either, right? 80, they'd be 90 this year. They weren't taught that time out, or how to heal myself, or just get quiet with myself. So I just created this thing for myself. I'd organize my toys or my books, or I'd go in the linen closet and organize my mom's towels. And I do this talk a lot. And I said, I could have been there an hour, 5 minutes, didn't matter. But when I came out, I was different. The chaos could have been swirling still around me, but I was different, because I had calmed, I had inner calm. So I don't think of it as, well, I can't do that because I have ADD. It doesn't define me, and it shouldn't define anybody. It's like I have brown hair, you have blonde hair. Like it's just part of you.
Mhm.
And it kind of bugs me when people are like, oh, it's my ADD. I'm like, oh, everybody doesn't. I think everyone has a little bit of it, but don't blame your forget. Like, that's not what it is. You know, ADD is under an umbrella. It's like autism, any under the spectrum. We all have different things. I can hyper focus, and I can be like, oh, what was I just saying? Like, I've given talks and I was like, where was I? Because I'll go on a tangent,
Yep.
and someone in the audience is like, oh, you were saying that. Okay, bring me back. You know, so ADD, attention deficit's not also always like we're up in the stratosphere somewhere,
Right.
you know. So I say, just like finding your organizational style, find how ADD is a blessing to you and how it's motivated you to. You have to push a little harder. I had to read a little bit more, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's definitely my superpower.
I love it. And I love that you found that book too that really spoke to you. And clearly you just read the title and it spoke to you. So,
Well, you know, to tell you the truth, I never made it through the book.
you're just like,
I
oh,
never told my
okay.
doctor that. I was like, okay, I
That's
got it. Okay,
hilarious.
good. No, I'm good.
Now you developed this really interesting system of organizing. It's
Mhm.
LITL. What is this system and how can it help you to organize anything in the world?
Yes, yes. Okay, it's the little system.
Okay.
Leave it to Lisa, LITL. That's another one of my tools as an ADDer, right? Is I like acronyms.
Okay.
It helps me remember things.
Hmm.
You know, you put silly words with the letters or, you know, something. And so when I was looking at Leave It to Lisa, I thought, oh, it's LITL. How great. Little. We help our clients a little. They reclaim their space a little. They're a little calmer. And my husband is a Six Sigma black belt.
Hmm.
And I started looking at his papers once, and they do the 5 S's. I don't remember what they are, standardize, whatever, whatever. And I thought, oh, that's a lot like organizing. So when I was teaching and, you know, training my organizers, I thought I want to have my own system. So I went back to LITL. So
Yeah.
the first L, and I work with a lot of therapists, and I say this all the time. This is the system you use to make any decision in your life. So
Mhm.
it's organizing your space, your senses, your mind, making any decision. The first L is let it go. Again, what are the things that don't serve you? So say you're in your kitchen, you're looking at your books or your closet.
Mhm.
Instead of taking all the books off your shelf, look at them and say, oh, I can let that one go. Yeah, I don't really like that one. All the things, that's the first step in any decision you make.
Mhm.
Decluttering, even like going to lunch, going to dinner. Well, what do I want for dinner? Well, I'm not in the mood for pasta. I don't really want this. I don't. So we get rid of the things we know we don't want
Mhm.
first, always, no matter what. And then the I is intentional. And the I is a little trickier. And this is usually the step people get stuck on because they'll be in the closet or they're on their shelf. Well, I really love that book, but it's huge and it's massive and we're moving and maybe I'll give it to somebody. That's like, you have to think about it. It's an intentional, it's grandma's, china cabinet or her china or the sweatshirt that doesn't fit you anymore, but it reminds you of grade school or your mom or your dad, or
Mhm.
it's the stuff that takes a little more thought. And that's usually where people mess up because they haven't done the first step yet.
Got it.
They stop at, oh, I don't know about this. Oh, forget it. And then it's an hour later, they get the photo album. I can't do it anymore. I'm done. Because that was an intentional decision. That photo album, they had to take a little more time on. So until you get the let it go, don't move on. And a lot of people want to get to the end, right?
Mhm.
If you're making any decision, how about kids going to college or what to do with their next job? Well, where do you want to live? Do you want to live in a cold climate? And if you don't look at Chicago, don't look at UP, don't,
Mhm.
everybody uses this to make every decision in your life. So even like the kids who are listening, in your room, okay, you're going home for the holidays. What don't you need to bring?
Right.
Don't bring your summer clothes if you're going somewhere cold. So it's actually really cool. And then the T and the L, last two steps, are really the outcome of making the first two steps. So the T is transform. So you've transformed your space, you've transformed your mind, your life. You're giving yourself a little confidence, like, oh, I was able to do that. I didn't think I could, because any client, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I want everything. Well, let's start with what you know you don't want. Oh, well, yeah, I guess I don't need this, set of bocce balls anymore, whatever it is. And then the last L is love it and live it. So reward yourself. Love the hard work you did, because this stuff is not easy,
Yeah.
right? I always say the stuff about your stuff is not about your stuff.
Right. So
Right?
true. So true.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, as you're saying all this, I think the acronym is incredible, and I can see how it relates to just about any decision. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be very transparent with you right now.
Of course.
So we moved to Franklin, Tennessee 11 years ago. Okay. And when we moved, we had to move in a rush because I had this new job that I was starting in Franklin. And so we actually, my company paid for me to essentially have movers pack everything up in our old home. They didn't do that process of getting rid of stuff like you normally
It's
you and I
not.
would. Right? Of course not.
Right.
They're getting paid by the weight. So they just took
Exactly.
everything, right? So they
Right.
took everything instead of going through it. And I had to start work immediately. So there was no
Right.
transition time, right? And so they show up with everything and the kitchen sink. And I'm like, you guys are terrible. And so literally, like in my basement, there's like a room with the boxes from 11 years ago. I'm
Yeah.
not exaggerating.
No,
11 years ago.
you are a client. Yep.
I'm a client, and in that we have not gone
happened.
through these boxes. And so I guess my question to you is, what are some tips that I can use in order to get started on this room of boxes? Because it's been 11 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the best tip of all. Put it in your schedule.
Okay.
Right? Just like we book this call.
Yes.
You booked going to the dentist. You book going to the gym. You go dinner with your friends. You go grocery shop. Put it in your schedule, and don't put the whole day. We're going to do all 11, 50 boxes.
Right.
Open one box up.
Okay.
What are the things you know you don't want? Get it out. Well, this is the stuff. Well, I don't know. It's from the kids when they were little. Put it on the side.
Right.
Next box. Open it up. No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. Put the rest on the side, and do that. And just give yourself even 20-minute quadrants, or, whatever. Give yourself 5 boxes.
Yeah. So am
Put
I
it
just
in the schedule.
identifying the stuff that we're going to toss at this point?
Or donate.
Am I
Yep.
actually creating like 3 piles where it's like toss, keep, and like sell or something like that?
Yeah, you could do if you know that. But the first, if it's something, yes, you don't want.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Put it either in donate.
Okay.
Well, no, okay. So let's take a step back. If you know it's going somewhere in the house.
Yes.
Like, oh gosh, we forgot about this.
Yes.
Make a pile for this is going somewhere.
I got it.
Right.
Okay.
And then if it's sellable, a lot of things are not sellable anymore. I'll just tell you that. You get a better write-off if you find a great place to donate to, Habitat for Humanity or local church or something, and then make that pile. And then if the stuff that, well, I'm not sure about that, we got to discuss, put it on the side. Yeah. So for you, it's a little different. It's a little different.
Okay.
And then when that pile gets big, load it up in your car and drive it away. The one that's
really
donate.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the stuff is 11 years old, so probably a lot of that stuff is just junk and just needs to be tossed away in reality. And the value.
But you never know. There might be little,
little tchotchkes, little photos and other things that are not
just a memory. Yeah.
There's some memories in there that I know we want to go through, but it's like one of those things, you just get started with life and, you're such in a
got to
rush.
put it in your schedule. Just like
it.
anything else. Yeah. I say that a lot to my clients is we're giving you time.
Yeah.
And you're paying for it, and that's the sad thing, because some people cannot do it alone. I totally trust, Michael, that you can, with your family, that you do it. You just have to put it in your schedule. And again, don't expect to do the whole thing in one day.
Right.
Take breaks, because sometimes it's emotional. You can you can open a box. And I say that a lot with people who have had a death in the family or a divorce or any kind of life change, even just moving sometimes.
Yeah.
It's emotional. And most people don't want to open the box. And this is, some stuff in my book is they don't want to open the box, like literally their box of memories in their head or the physical box, because they're afraid, like, oh my gosh, that was the death of my brother or something, and now I have to relive this. You're not going to relive it because you're a different person. Hopefully you've grieved and you've accepted. It's the fear we're creating around what we think we're going to feel, right? It's the stuff about your stuff,
Right.
the mental clutter you're making up about it.
Yeah, let's talk about your
Yeah.
book. It's called 17
Okay.
Spatulas and the Man Who Fried an Egg. So first of all, where did that title come from? And where do a lot of listeners learn from it?
Yes, yes. So my favorite word to use or number to use to exaggerate is 17. I don't know why. It's just one of those
That's your number.
comes off the tongue, right? And so when I would introduce myself as my business, my little elevator speech, I'd say, yeah, we can help you with the 17 spatulas in your kitchen to whole house moves and pack ups because we're certified move managers and unpack and all that. And then I met a woman who had 17 spatulas. And her story was amazing. They lived in the house for 50 years. They were downsizing. And so we talked through the 17 spatulas, and the ones she didn't want, right, that she let go are the new ones, the colorful one, the sparkly ones, that her family and friends had given her to replace the old ones. But the old ones felt good in her hand. And they served a purpose. This was for her, her tortellini, and this was for the lasagna, and this was for the whatevers. They served a purpose. So she kept the ones, 9 or 10, or maybe half of them, that served a purpose and felt good in her hand. So it doesn't matter. This is a huge thing we tell our clients and to you and kids that are listening. It doesn't matter what it looks like. If it feels good in your hand and you want it. I mean, I've had clients keep things. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's who am I to judge?
Right.
It's important to them.
Right.
So that's what that one, the 17 spatulas is. And then there's a gentleman in the story, and his name is Vince in the story. All the characters in my book are family members or someone who's been important in my life.
Sure.
And Vince is my grandfather's name. And I met him I think in like March of 1 year, and I worked with him for 8 months. And he was a hoarder. He had lived in a townhouse, never went upstairs. There was a lot of emotional trauma and stuff that happened around that space. Hardly cooked, couldn't even go in his kitchen except for his extensive coffee pot and maker and all that. But he ate microwavable, takeout, just a lot of shitty food because he couldn't use his kitchen. Right. Slept on 3 yoga mats in the basement. Wow. With books and stuff piled all over. And after 8 months, he called me one morning. He said, Lisa, I just want you to know I fried an egg on my new stove for the first time in 8 years.
Wow.
So he changed his whole life. Yeah. So organizing can, from the 17 spatulas in your kitchen, which is not easy, making those decisions, right? You think, oh, spatula, blah, or books or clothes, whatever. Yeah. It's not easy, right? It's simple, not easy, like they say. But doing this, like this man changed his whole life. And through those 8 months, he helped me through some stuff. And he was like a big brother to me. We became really good friends. And so you can change your whole life. And not all it was, but it was a lot of confidence on his side and trust in me, and which I take very seriously. And then decision, and time and money. Like it was a huge investment for him, but that's what he needed. We were working with his therapist also, and that's hugely important. Yeah.
I love it. Well, this has been really, really helpful. Now, I'm a little bit jealous because you live in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, and I am a big seafood lover. Like for me, nothing better than, just crabs and the mallet and the whole thing, right? So, I mean, I'm just asking a question. The next time I end up in Baltimore, D.C. area, where do you go for a great bite to eat? So that way I can go and check it out too.
Oh my gosh. Oh God, I wouldn't even know where to start. There's so many places.
The first restaurant that comes into mind, if I said, Lisa, we're going out tonight, your favorite place, where are we going?
There is Passion Fin. Yeah. And then there's Passion Fish. So one's a sushi restaurant a friend of mine owns. It's amazing, fresh, beautiful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Passion Fish is a high-end, beautiful restaurant, great food. And then last night I had some friends over for a sweets party, just a hop, just in and out. And my husband stopped at a place. This is out like by more by me, which is by Dulles
Okay.
Airport. It's
Sure.
called Willard's, the best barbecue.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
like that. Barbecue
Willard's really
in
good.
Baltimore,
Yeah,
DC. What?
yeah, yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, we're gonna have to check that out. I live in Nashville, so you got to understand. I know about some
Well,
good
yeah,
barbecue. Okay.
that's a different type of, yeah. It's all in the sauce, and we always get the burnt ends,
Yeah,
so
that's really good.
oh, so
That's
good.
good. Well, listen, we can definitely go out to dinner anytime because I can see we're on the same wavelength and we like the same foods. This is perfect.
Yeah,
This is really good. All right. So if our
love
listeners,
it.
they want to connect with you about the
Hmm.
organizing mentors, maybe they want to come and buy your book. It's called 17 Spatulas and the Man Who Fried an Egg. Where should they go to connect with you, Lisa?
You can go to my website, theorganizingmentors.com, and then my book is on there. You can go on Amazon, buy my book. We do virtual organizing. Sometimes it's difficult because we're not there with the person,
Yeah.
but we've done it. Started doing it in COVID, so we can basically work all over the world now, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Some of our clients need us there physically to actually help them, but your audience probably not. Yeah, we can do a refresher over the little system or anything. Yeah, I
That's
would love to
great.
connect. And I have a Facebook page and a private Facebook group, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to start my little system online, like
Yeah.
a course, an online course.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
I love where you're going with
yeah,
this. I think it's great that you do it
thanks.
virtually as well. So now you can help anybody, not just
Yeah.
those in the Baltimore or DC area. So
Hmm.
that's really helpful. And so I hope that a bunch of people will take you up on that offer, visit your
Yeah,
website,
thanks.
connect with you, so that way they can get the help that they need to finally get in. But hey, listen, I appreciate all of your words here today. I think it's motivated
Oh,
me
thanks.
to now schedule my time to go through the boxes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe after the holidays,
Maybe.
give
I mean,
yourself a.
listen, we have
Well, if
some
you're
time. I
motivated
mean,
now, just do it. Yeah.
we're closing for a week, so I mean that's a good time to schedule,
Oh,
right?
there you go. That's true. You might find some like new Christmas, things that you
I
didn't know you
bet you
had.
we will. I bet
Yeah.
you we will.
Sometimes we say that. It's like Christmas, open it because you don't know what's in the box.
That's right. Maybe that's what we need to box up and put under the tree is those old
Oh,
boxes.
I've actually suggested some of this. If you have any parents who listen to you, the kids
Yeah.
who have moved out but they left all their stuff,
Good stuff. Right.
give it to
Or
them for Christmas, right under the tree. Look at this great big box, and guess what? It's going home with you.
that's a great idea. That's great. All right, Lisa, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for sharing all
Thanks,
the
Michael. Oh
info.
my gosh, wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Happy
You're very
holidays,
welcome.
everybody.
Happy holidays, everybody. And if you enjoyed this conversation with Lisa, I want you to like this on social media. I want you to share it with other college students, family members that could use help in organizing. I know Lisa and her team can absolutely help you. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to see you on another episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.